watch the movie. It's a good start. I mean, we have the things we've seen, heard from friends at the CDC, what we've heard from people, doctors at the CDC. I mean, we're just informed now, and we know there's an issue. There's a major issue with the vaccines. There's a major issue with the food. We're just informed. They've got to get informed.
And there was a recent study that just showed that I think 90% of children with autism have that MTHFR genetic mutation.
It's wonderful to meet you both. So if you could just tell everyone who you are.
I'm Jennifer Kephart. This is my husband, Steve.
And you've got a story of vaccine injury.
I do. My son, Josh, is 12 years old now. He was diagnosed with Asperger's when he was about 6 years old. And he has the MTHFR genetic mutation.
And how did you find that out?
It took a long time to find that out. He presented with Asperger's a long time ago, right around when he was about 2 years old. He showed some signs. But I didn't realize that there was more to it than just that. And we did the conventional therapies, occupational therapy, speech therapy. He went to school at 3 years old to help with all of his needs. But I didn't know about the MTHFR until he was in a really, really bad place. He had been on medications, anti-anxiety medications, and when we started to wean him from those, we were recommended to go to another psychiatrist who prescribed several other medications, which made him very, very ill. And he was psychotic for a brief period of time. He was violent, aggressive. He was a completely different child, and so I knew, and I had known for a long time there was more to it than just Asperger's. So I had heard, just by chance, from a friend about MTHFR, and she had suggested that because my child had a form of autism that I look into it. And I began to read, and I read and researched, and I found a doctor who was trained in dealing with MTHFR and dealing with the underlying medical issues in children with autism. And we flew to New Jersey, and immediately he tested for the MTHFR. And then he also prescribed methyl B12 injections and some other supplements that almost immediately helped my child. Since then, I've done a lot of research and a lot of reading, and for that doctor visit, I had to go through my child's birth history, early childhood history, everything up until he was seen for that appointment. When I was doing that, I realized how many different things had happened to him early on that could have impacted him. And the major, I think, contributing factor was the vaccinations. Because once I started to read about MTHFR, I realized that vaccinations can be really harmful for people who have that genetic mutation. And in the history, he had multiple vaccinations. Then he had a diagnosis of croup at one point. Then he had more vaccinations, and then he was introduced to real food right around the same time. And I feel like all of these things kind of in combination contributed to some of the problems that he has now.
How is he doing now? How old is he now?
He's 12 years old. He's in middle school. He still struggles. He's doing much better than he was. He's no longer psychotic. He's no longer aggressive.
So he's off all meds?
He is taking supplements. He still receives the methyl B12 injections.
But he's not on psychotropic
He's not
medicine.
on any psychotropic medications. We're still investigating what else we can do to help him. He probably takes maybe 8 supplements a day, along with the methyl B12 injections. He's functioning, but he's in a private school now. Public school was just too difficult for him, and I didn't feel like there was the understanding of all of the underlying issues that he has there.
Does he have friends?
No, not really. He would really, really like to have friends.
It's painful.
There is one child in his class that he is very sweet with and really enjoys, and I think they're starting to form a friendship, but it is really difficult for him to make friends.
Yeah. So what advice do you have for parents starting out on this? There's so many parents. There's a lot of parents that are with us, they just get it, either through being having a damaged member of their family, or through just getting it, we've made enough noise for them to get it. There's still a lot of parents that just, whatever we say, whatever we do, the doctors know best.
They need to read and research, and they need to listen to all of these parents. I mean, there's no reason for all of these parents to come forward and make something up. I mean, things have happened, and it's real, and it's really going on. And then maybe we should research how the MTHFR genetic mutation is impacted, or a child is impacted by having that and then being vaccinated. And, you know, maybe that should be something that is broadcasted more frequently and parents are more informed about. I don't know what's really going to get through, but I just think we need to keep broadcasting it high and wide and hoping that people hear the stories and understand that it's a real issue. People aren't making this up.